Hi there everyone, welcome to the Improve Your Dressage Scores course. There'll be 3 modules. My name's Peter Dove, author of Master Dressage, and I'll be taking these 3 modules with you. This first module, we're going to go through the basic geometry of some of the movements from intro, prelim and novice, or if you're in the US, that will be intro, training and level 1, I believe. I'm really excited about doing this course. The books, Master Dressage, have sold over 15,000 copies. And I hear lots of comments from people about how much it's helped their riding. So I hope this course brings to life the diagrams and the pages and the advice that I've given there. And of course, at the end of the session, you can ask some questions of me too. So to my right, I have Demel's a horse, who's a classical rider who rides up to into one. Demelza recently came 6th at the British Dressage Nationals in Prix St George. I consider Demelza a really nice rider, and she always seems to bring some very nice horses. So you're going to see, what level does this horse?
He's at PSG into 1.
Okay, so this horse competes at PSG into 1, and you'll see what a more advanced horse looks like doing the basic movements. This is my daughter, Millie Dove, on her prelim pony. Some of you may have seen her pony yesterday in the canter lesson. And, watching that canter lesson back and the emphasis being on canter, it was interesting to note that despite the pony's lack of ability in canter at this time, she still manages to score 70% plus at BD standard affiliated dressage tests. And that's because of the quality of her trot work and transitions, and also how accurate she is. And, she just sort of brings out the best in the pony in the paces that she does well. So I hope that's one of the benefits you'll get from this course, as well as you'll be able to get the very best from your horse and present your horse in your dressage tests to the best of its ability. So if you'd both just like to walk on and perhaps wander off on the same rein. So what will happen is you'll be able to watch this live. You can watch the replay of this. But in probably 48 hours, there'll be an HD version up online that's been edited and zoomed into the right spots and so on. So you'll be able to get a really good quality viewing from YouTube. So the first thing we're going to look at is 20-meter circles. And we're going to start with a 20-meter circle at A. And some of this advice only refers to the 20 by 40 arena, but some of it is also relevant to the 20 by 60 as well. So very quickly, I'll just talk about the geometry of a 20 meter by 40 meter arena. Things to notice are F, M, H, and K are 6 meters in from their respective sides. So that will become interesting once we start talking about circles, once we start talking about loops and that kind of thing. This arena actually is really quite useful in that there are 7 bays all the way down this arena, and with the boards in place, it is a perfect 20 by 40 meter arena. So these bays kind of split the length of the arena up really nicely, and especially when I'm teaching, I can use these bays as a way of marking off where the rider should be. So hopefully Mike's going to follow me down to the bottom end of the arena with the zoom on the camera, and we'll start off with a 20-meter circle. So what I might do is I might get oh, Carol, by the way, just make sure that the volume is still coming through the mic. It's meant to reach all the way, and I've tested it, but lots of technical things happen. Okay, so I think the first thing we'll do is we're going to get Millie to demonstrate an incorrect 20-meter circle in trot. But just don't trot yet, Millie. I guess the other thing I want to do is perhaps mark where X is so that everybody can see the line, which is just going to be here. Okay. So Millie's going to demonstrate the typical 20-meter circle that I see at the lower levels. And just so you know, I worked out that I've judged well over 15,000 horses and riders at intro, prelim, and novice level. So I see a lot of mistakes. So this particular type of circle Millie's going to do, riders often go far too deep into the corner. So they continue along the track. And then they sort of start coming off at about F and veer across the school, frequently not reaching X. So Millie missed X. And then they continue onto the wall and into the corner. And actually, this is a slightly better version of the ones that I often see. Do it once more, Millie. And often the rider has a bit too much inside bend and kind of drifts across before they hit. So they hit the wall further up even. Yeah. And then they kind of hit the wall and then go into the corner and go large. So that's, if I had to say a percentage, I think that's probably at the lower level 70% of what I see riders doing when they do a 20-meter circle. So Millie's going to now do, well, she already is by the look of it. Millie's now going to do a correct shaped 20-meter circle just for your visual reference. And then we'll talk about what it takes to make a 20-meter circle happen. Good. Well done. Oh, it always makes me smile watching Millie do circles. Good. And then go large, Millie, and come forwards to walk. Okay. So we're back to talking about geometry again. So the key thing to remember about your circles is they start at the marker. Now, I'm sure you've all seen the video where I draw the square and I put the circle in the middle, and that circle only touches the points at 4 different places. So the first touch point is A, and then Michael will have to follow me to the next touch point probably. But the next touch point, contrary to what a lot of people do, isn't F, but it's 4 meters past F. Now remember, F is 6 meters in from the track. And if we're doing a 20-meter circle, it's going to take up the entire half of the arena. And half of the arena is 10 meters. So we need to be 10 meters along the track here, which is, in our arena, approximately here. So this would be the other touch point that the rider hits. X, obviously, and then the same on the other side. Now, one of the things that I like to say when I'm teaching people is when they're doing a circle, I want them to imagine that they're trotting on top of a gymnastics balance beam, wrought into this shape of a 20-meter circle, which is just wide enough for the horse to trot along the top of. Now, if you were doing a correct 20-meter circle with uniform bend, appropriate to the size of the circle, because we can all do uniform bend like this, I guess, but uniform bend appropriate to the size of the circle, you should be able to trot safely on the top of that balance beam without plopping off one side or the other, if you imagine it was raised off the ground. The other thing that this kind of says to the rider is there is no drift on circles. You do not start your turn and then just let the horse do whatever it's going to do. If you did that on top of a balance beam, your horse would start the turn and then go plink and fall off onto the floor. In fact, a turn or a circle is a continuous series of discrete steps by the horse to the inside, with the inside foreleg reaching out a little bit. So keeping that in mind, to ride a good 20-meter circle requires an awful lot more focus than most people are giving to their circle shapes. So let's just clarify the idea of touch points. So if I'm going to do my circle at A, literally at the letter A, the horse's front leg gets to here and it's stepping off the track at that point, okay? And the next point you're looking for is that mark 4 meters away from F. And you are going to go nowhere near the corner when you're doing this 20-meter circle. You know, you're coming round and you're going to just touch the track. Literally, the horse is, you know, outside foreleg will be touching the track, and then the next, you know, is a kind of step off in the direction you're going in, and you're looking at X. The same all the way around, stepping on top of the balance beam, one step at a time, all the way around the turn. And the other thing I'd say is typically people drift when they get to this point. Okay, try to keep in mind that as you get towards X, so we're going to try and find myself on X. X is the top of the arc of your circle, of the curve that you're making. And a lot of people will continue drifting in this direction, but it's the same as if you're at H. You know, you should be stepping away literally at X towards 4 meters this side of K. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to now ask Demelza to do a 20-meter circle for me. And we'll probably get Millie to do it as well. And then we'll talk about 20-meter circles at B and E. And I'll position myself so I don't get run over by this huge horse. So stepping off the track. And the horse keeps turning. Every single step coming round, turning. Yeah, good. And turning. Okay, so hopefully you could see how smooth that was and how the horse kept a uniform bend and kept stepping round the circle. And Millie's going to have a go too. Look at how far away Millie is from that corner, you know? Bit more energy, Millie. That's it. Very good. Touching the track, curving round, and back to the track at A. Okay? And forwards to walk, Millie. Thank you very much. Okay, so I hope that makes sense to everybody. Obviously, it's inverse the other way around. It is such a big deal to get your circle shape correctly. The very first circle that Millie showed, you know, you see riders that have too much bend. The judge sees that the horse is falling onto its outside shoulder. You're making turns which are too tight for the 20-meter circle. You know, if you're kind of going into the corner, it's harder for your horse. You know, why not get a correct shaped circle, giving your horse the minimum amount of bend that it's required for the movement? So in fact, you're doing the easiest thing for the horse, and it's the most pleasing thing for the judge to look at, the most smooth and the most accurate of movements. So actually one of the quick things I'd say, and I was going to talk about this more on turns, but just before you start your turn, make sure you get a very slight bend appropriate for the circle that you're doing before you step off. Don't kind of just come away from the track. You know, there's that tiny little bit of preparation which helps. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining me here and taking the time, a good hour and 25 minutes. It's been a real pleasure to talk about these kind of things, and they make a real difference to the scores that you can get, and also just to the balance presented to the judge. By doing these movements correctly, as I've been describing, you're actually making the test easier for your horse. You can present a smoother test, a test that demonstrates the horse's current abilities and doesn't overface the horse as well. There's also a few little things about, you know, when you make a turn, slight bit of bend, and then start making the turn. But most of this is about creating a smooth test that doesn't overface the horse. Next session, I'll put up the date for that soon. It will be in 2 to 3 weeks. The next session will continue on with the different movements. We'll also be doing demonstrations in the outdoor arena. We'll be using the drone that we have as well, so you'll be able to see footage from above, which will help really give you a good idea. And yeah, we'll just get more into the more advanced movements. We'll do the 2 half 10-meter circles. We'll do half 10-meter circle incline back to the track. And if since you're on the forum, when I keep saying forum, the Facebook group, if you're on the Facebook group and there's a movement which you want us to talk about in the intro, prelim, novice kind of level that you might be worried I'm not going to talk about, then do write it up and remind me. But I'll be also looking through all of our test sheets that we have at our competition centre to make sure that I cover as many of them as possible. So thank you very much for turning up. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you, Demelza. It's really lovely to see such a humongous pony doing 4-meter turns so nicely. And thank you very much, Millie. It's lovely to see you and your donkey out as well. Thank you very much, everybody.